Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you my opinion about this recent story. It's about the drug lord Rafael Caro Quintero. He was recently arrested, and why is this significant? So these are some of his photos. Apparently he was arrested on July 15, as far as I know. The main significance is that he was one of the most successful drug lords in Mexico for quite some time, and he was accused of killing a DEA agent in 1985, and then he was captured and he was in prison for 28 years. And just the whole story is that they released him after 28 years, but apparently there was some kind of corruption, allegations of corruption, that it shouldn't have been released. It seems like a state court released him, but later the federal court decided to overturn the decision. But he was already released, so they couldn't capture him again. So that happened in 2013. So in 2013 is when he was released, and his cartel was very successful. And after the criminal organization collapsed, they broke up in different factions. So mainly, let's bring here some part here. The name of the cartel was Guadalajara Cartel. So among other cartels, it was the Sinaloa cartel, and the infamous Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was part of this cartel, together with Ismael El Mayo Zambada. So they all started from this cartel. So that's why it was so significant. Caro Quintero, because probably people recently they don't understand what was the significance of this criminal. So he was very successful, and not only that, but he was almost some sort of legend in Mexico, because he claimed to have so much money at one point that he offered to pay Mexico's external debt. So that was how much money he had. That was before he was captured, probably in 1985. So he was like a legend. A lot of people actually supported him. He was seen as some kind of hero, especially in his local state in Sinaloa, which is in the western part of Mexico in the Pacific Ocean. So he was recently captured, and then they have some strange stories that a dog found him. I don't know exactly how can a dog find him, but that's kind of the story where they want to run with. And the main thing I want to say is that there are a few things that are interesting about his capture, but let's go into detail for this one first. That they say that Mexico is unwilling to extradite Caro Quintero to the United States, and even when he was in prison, and they say it has always been a source of tension for both countries. And this is for several reasons. One of those is that he cannot be extradited for the murder of the DEA agent, because Mexican law prohibits criminals from being tried for the same crime again in another country. So it's what is called in the United States legislation double jeopardy, but it seems like people in the United States want to find some kind of loophole to allow that to happen. And regardless, it seems like Mexico will not allow him to be extradited for another reason, and it's the case that death penalty is allowed in the United States, and Mexico doesn't allow criminals to be extradited if they are in risk of facing death penalty. So that's a contention issue. That's why they don't want to extradite him. And that's what they're saying basically. There is like a summary of the story. But the other part is that this, what I want to highlight is this additional part. First of all, he was captured by the Navy. The Navy in Mexico has very good reputation as being honest and very effective in fighting against criminals. And even though the military is not supposed to fight against criminals because it's not part of their duty, when they have to do like a special operation and capture a high-profile criminal, the Navy is probably the best solution because otherwise they cannot do it. The Mexican criminals are very well armed, and there is even this story that a Black Hawk helicopter crashed after they were participating in the operation. So there's a speculation that this helicopter was shot down by the drug criminals, the cartel. So this is the kind of helicopter that was shot down, is what is called a Black Hawk. And this is significant because Mexico has been the victim of drug trafficking in one point, but also weapons trafficking, weapon smuggling. So there is a lot of corruption in Mexico, but it seems like in conjunction with the United States and some other organizations, these criminal organizations are able to secure all kinds of advanced weapons to fight even against the government. And that's why I put so much emphasis in drug smuggling, because this is something that can affect every country. There is a big story that happened about 2 or 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, when a bunch of criminals had like a big battle against the government, and this happened in Sinaloa state. So apparently there was some kind of operation, and the National Guard of Mexico, which is some kind of high-profile police corps in Mexico, they arrested this guy here in the middle. His name is Ovidio, and the one in the left is Alfredo, and this one on the right is Ivan. So these guys are the sons of El Chapo Guzman. So these guys are brothers, and apparently the National Guard arrested this guy. But when they arrested him, he had the opportunity to call his brother, and he organized basically a battle, complete battle in the city of Culiacan. And initially they arrested him, but later a lot of things happened. So we will try to show you some highlights of things that happened during this operation, so you can have an idea of the kind of firing power, firing capacity they have, these criminal organizations in Mexico.
Hay una fuerte balacera en el sector de Avenida Universitarios y Un fuerte enfrentamiento en estos momentos. Desconocemos cuántos muertos hay. Hay una fuerte balacera hay una fuerte balacera en estos momentos.
So that was a big shootout, so you can hear the kind of high caliber weapons they are using. And next I'm going to show you a scene where you can see a very confusing scene, but I will try to tell you what is happening here. Okay, so what happens here is you will see the army with green uniforms, and then you see some guys in civilian clothes. So the guys in civilian clothes are the criminals, but they are well so armed, and there are so many of them that they outnumber and they outgun the Mexican army elements in this part, and this is like some kind of let's say control point for a highway, and they basically are waiting at the entrance of the checking point, and then they don't allow the units, the Mexican army units, to go into the city to reinforce other positions, and they basically kind of talk to each other, but it's they are overpowered. You know, they're basically just choosing not to confront them to probably save their lives. So just pay attention to what happened here.
¿Y ese güey ya tienes un casco de los soldados? ¿Ya viste?
No, ese güey llegó así en la camioneta, güey.
¿Así?
Sí, en la que dice que se dio vuelta. Nos agarraron bajando aquí en la caseta de Costa Rica, ahorita te marco.
So that is showing just how much power they have, so that even the army is not able to confront them. Now you're going to see even a fake truck that is very interesting. So this is a former state company that is a telecom company. They have official operations, so it's the main telecommunications company in Mexico. And you will see some criminals in this truck. So this is kind of disguised truck that is officially used by the telecom company, but in reality it is being used to carry some criminals. I don't know if they kidnapped the truck, they took it from the employees, or what happened, so let's pay attention to this. So that was part of the footage. Let's take a look at something else I wanted to show you. So you will see here the kind of armament they So let's take a look at this truck in particular. So you see that's a 50 cal machine gun mounted on a truck. The same truck from another point of view. And another truck with some and then you will see another truck.
More than a dozen.
So you will see that here.
City burning, civilians at risk, and more than a.
So you see, that's another 50 cal mounted in a truck. And these guys have radio, and they have the kind of radio that they can communicate with authorities. So they have encrypted radios. They probably bought these radios from some other police officers, so they're able to hear all communications between law enforcement and army. So
A dozen military hostages, not a.
So that's the kind of armament they have. Let's take a look at the other one. In this one, you can see, after this you will see a truck. You see these civilian trucks, they are with some armed guys here, but then you will see a military truck. So that was a military truck they kidnapped together with their soldiers that were driving it. You see?
Mira, se robaron hasta patrulla de guachos.
So what happened was that they even kidnapped the soldiers and they were using it to bargain with the authorities for them. You will see another truck with a 50 cal machine gun. You see?
No se ve de aquí para atrás.
So that's the kind of armament these guys have. And then here you see a police truck that is attacked by a machine gun with a 50 cal.
La verga, ahora ni nada.
They pause very briefly. You will see it here. Let's try to find the perfect spot. So you see, it's even with armor, and they have a 50 cal there. So that's the kind of firepower they have. Or is it the same one that we saw before? So this is the same that we saw before. And let's bring it back to normal speed. Then you will see a sniper on the streets, just firing with a high power rifle. So that was a high power sniper rifle, specialized, military grade. And then you will see this truck. This truck is a police truck and is being overpowered by apparently the same truck that we saw before that has the armored 50 cal mounting. So it's the same truck we saw before, just like a different camera. And then another
Ahí te ve la
one.
mano. Lámina.
See? So that's the kind of armament these guys have, and is really significant. What it matters is that all these weapons that, for example, right now are being flooding Ukraine, some of them will end up in the hands of criminals, not just in Mexico, but anywhere. So imagine these criminals, the kind of firepower they have, that they're able to shut down a helicopter, they're able to fight the law enforcement. And even though this guy was arrested by the National Guard, they had to release him because they had so much firepower that there are some stories about this, that at one point there were about 800 armed men in the city, and they blocked all main access to the city. They even blocked the airport so that he wouldn't be able to leave. And they kidnap all kinds of people. There are some stories that they even kidnap families of military men, and they basically bargained with the government to release him. There were some stories from people that they even hijacked some gas trucks, these very big gas trucks that have at least 10,000 liters of gas, and they were threatening to explode them in different parts of the city. So it was horrible, really, and that's the reality of war, that you see all these wars coming into the black market, and then criminals are using them, and that's why we have these kind of situations in countries like Mexico. And I'm talking about Mexico because I'm Mexican, so these stories are probably in many other places, not just in Mexico. So that's why it's necessary to stop the wars. Stop the wars. Peace is better than war. And I don't know exactly what is the solution for the situation in Mexico with drug lords. I have always been in favor of legalization. I think if legalization was implemented, probably we will have some positive changes, but I'm not in charge of government, so that's only my opinion. So let me know what you think about it, and I'm asking you to support my work in any way you can. In the description channel, in the description text of every channel, every text in every video on my channel, I'm detailing different ways in which you can support me, whether it's Wise, Patreon, or Subscribestar. There are different ways depending on each platform. As you know, as I provide political critique, there is a big censorship, and I will really appreciate any financial support you can provide to support my work. So that's all I want to say for now. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.